What if I told you that one of the greatest faith stories in the Bible starts with fear, lies, and a guy who honestly didn't have it all figured out? We hear Abraham and think, father of nations, giant of faith, man of God. But what if I told you, right after God called him, he panicked during a famine, ran to Egypt, and straight up lied to protect himself? Yeah, not exactly the hero move we expected. And that's exactly why this story is so powerful. Because maybe you felt called to do something big, but you're scared, unsure, maybe even messed up already. And you're wondering, can God still use me? Stick around, because today we're digging into Abraham's call in Genesis 12. Not just the glory part, but the human part too. The fear, the faith, the fumbles, and why that mess is actually what makes the message hit so hard. Let's get into it. Before he was Abraham, the father of nations, he was just Abram. He was a man in his 70s, living with his dad in one of the wealthiest, most advanced cities in the ancient world, Ur of the Chaldeans. Ur was no dusty village. We're talking luxury homes, indoor plumbing, libraries, temples to moon gods. It was the LA of its time. And Abram, he was settled. He had land, wealth, a household, comfort. But he also lived in a culture drenched in idol worship. God wasn't part of his world. At least, not yet. But then, something interrupts the ordinary. Something divine breaks into the normal rhythms of life. God speaks.
Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you.
That's like God saying, leave your hometown, your family, your job, your retirement plan, and trust me, with no forwarding address. God didn't call a holy man. He called a man in process, a man who didn't yet know him fully, but would learn. And here's the twist. The journey of faith didn't begin in Canaan. It started in Ur, with a man who had every reason to stay where he was. But he didn't. He heard the call, and even though he didn't know the destination, he stepped out anyway. Imagine waking up one morning and hearing this.
Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you.
That's not a request. That's a full-blown life detour, without directions. Leave your country. Okay, that's your sense of belonging. Your people, that's your identity. Your father's household, that's your inheritance, your security blanket, your fallback plan. And God doesn't say where he's going, just, I'll show you. We want details. God offers direction. We want clarity. God gives calling. See the difference? But that's just the first part of the call. Now comes the promise, the why behind the go.
I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great. You will be a blessing.
And he doesn't stop there.
I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you.
7 promises. Count them. 7. That's no coincidence. In Hebrew thought, 7 symbolizes completeness. God isn't just making a deal, he's writing a covenant, a complete divine commitment to a man who doesn't even know where he's going yet. But here's the catch. None of it happens unless Abraham goes. The promise is attached to the obedience. This isn't just a story about calling. It's about movement, risk, trusting the voice of God when the road is invisible. And Abraham, he has a choice to make. Here's what happens next. Spoiler alert. It's not dramatic. It's not a vision. It's not fireworks. It's quiet obedience. Genesis 12:4 says,
So Abram went as the Lord had told him.
no follow-up questions. No. Hey, God, what direction are we heading in exactly? No. Can you give me a sign? Just movement. But don't let the simplicity fool you. This is a massive act of faith. Abram is 75 years old. His wife is barren. He's leaving behind wealth, legacy, everything familiar, for a voice he's just learning to trust. Faith isn't about feeling certain. It's about being willing. Abram didn't have the full picture, but he had enough to take the next step. And he doesn't go alone. Lot, his nephew, goes with him. Sarai, his wife, follows. It's not just a man moving, It's a household shifting around a promise. His yes didn't just change his life, it changed generations. But, and this is important, just because he obeyed doesn't mean everything was smooth sailing. Spoiler, trouble's coming, big time. So, Abram obeys. He leaves everything. He follows the call. And then, a famine. A literal, harsh, unexpected famine.
Now there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down to Egypt to live there for a while because the famine was severe.
So Abram makes a move. He heads down to Egypt, a place known for its resources and wealth. But here's where things go sideways. He's not just trying to survive physically, he's trying to protect himself. And he lets fear take the wheel. Translation? If they think you're my wife, they might kill me to take you. But if you're my sister, they'll treat me better. That's not a faith move. That's fear dressed up as strategy. Sarai is taken into Pharaoh's household. Abram gets treated like royalty, livestock, wealth, servants. But don't miss it. He benefits from the lie, while Sarai bears the cost. And maybe that's the most relatable part of the story so far. Because haven't we all had a moment where we tried to help God out? Tried to control the outcome instead of trusting the process? Abram wasn't evil. He was scared. And fear has a way of hijacking obedience. But God doesn't abandon him. God steps in. By now, Abram's lie has spiraled. Sarai is in Pharaoh's house. Abram's cashing in. Livestock, servants, wealth. On the outside, it looks like he's winning. But inside, this wasn't the promise. This wasn't the plan. This wasn't what obedience was supposed to lead to. Then God steps in.
But the Lord inflicted serious diseases on Pharaoh and his household because of Abram's wife Sarai.
God protects Sarai, even when Abram doesn't. Even though Abram failed, God remained faithful. Pharaoh figures it out. He storms back to Abram. "What have you done to me? Why didn't you tell me she was your wife?" Abram gets rebuked by a pagan king. Let that sink in. The man of God gets a moral wake-up call from someone who doesn't even worship Yahweh. That's not just irony, that's accountability. Pharaoh sends him away. But here's the twist. He doesn't send him away empty-handed. Abram walks out richer than he came in. Not because he deserved it. Not because he nailed the test, but because God wasn't finished with him. This is what grace looks like. It doesn't erase the failure. It overrides it. Abraham's story is not just ancient history, it's a mirror. Because how many times have you felt called to something, but the road ahead looked foggy? You didn't have the full plan. You didn't feel ready. You were scared, just like Abraham. Maybe God asked you to leave something familiar, or trust him in a new season, or forgive someone who hurt you, or just take a step you can't see the end of yet. And maybe you said yes, but halfway through, the fear hit. The doubt crept in. You made a mistake. You took control. You lied. You backtracked. And you thought, did I ruin it? That's why Abraham's story matters. Not because he was perfect, but because he wasn't. And God still used him. The promise didn't collapse when Abraham panicked. God didn't cancel the calling when fear got loud. That's grace. That's God. That's the gospel. So maybe the question isn't, can I walk perfectly? Maybe it's just, can I keep walking, even when I mess up? So let me ask you, what is God calling you to do, even if it scares you? What's your What's the thing he's asking you to leave behind so he can show you something better? Drop it in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's pray for each other. Let's be real, because this journey isn't about performance. It's about progress. And if this spoke to you, encouraged you, or made you rethink what faith really looks like, hit that like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who's wrestling with their calling too.